We got a few minutes left with Deputy County Counsel and a guy with just a remarkable story and a remarkable capacity to forgive people. That a lot of us, most of us will never be in that position, but I can't even mentally imagine getting past that.
Yeah, it'd be so hard. And time has passed. And as Tom said in an earlier segment, we're talking to Thomas Morgan, a former deputy who was shot and almost killed. And 20 years later, 19 years later, goes to the parole hearing for the now 34-year-old man. Tom, it's so remarkable to hear how you have forgiven him and almost pity him. I also happen to know your wife, Christy, who is a Texas girl, fabulous woman. Has she forgiven him?
I believe so. I think at the very least, she doesn't hold any animosity against him either. And I remember I told her that one of the things that he had said was that he'd found religion in prison. And I know that's kind of a cliche, but Christy really wants to believe that he did, that he has found God, and that is something in his life. And who's to say whether he has or not? It may be cliche, but I suspect there's people, especially in that environment, that find that is a great deal of comfort to them. And I know he said also during the parole hearing that he'd prayed for myself and Christy, that I'd survived my injuries, and that she would be okay also.
Was Christy with you at the parole hearing?
No.
Okay. What kind of personal journey did you go to arrive where you are now? I can't imagine that there wouldn't have been some residual anger for a number of years. I mean, without getting too personal, did you have a good therapist? How do you go on about your life and come to face with the person who shot you and then tried to shoot you 2 more times, and find a place in your heart of peace where you can look at this person and go, that's pity, that's not anger?
Anger is such a destructive emotion, and like I explained earlier, if I remained angry, I think that has a direct cause and effect on the people that are around you that care for you. And I let go of that anger a long time ago. And it's something that you have to be careful with also, because you can't trivialize what happened. You can't say, it's no big deal, because it was a big deal. But I think everybody in these circumstances goes through a journey, and different people reach different places in that journey, depending upon a lot of factors. And I'd like to think that my acceptance of that, and just trying to live my life and be as normal as I can, helped Christy come to terms with her anger. I know that there's people out there that haven't come to terms with their anger about that, and I'm okay with that. But I would say to them that it's probably time to let it go if you can. And I think if I can do it, that they should be able to do it. But again, I understand that that's a personal journey and a personal decision, and I suspect there's members of my family that would never ever consider forgiving it.
And we're going to run out of time here, but I want to ask you this question on behalf of all the other crime victims out there who have had or are going to have to face their accusers in a similar type parole hearing. In your case, because he was 17 at the time of the incident, he falls under a youthful offender statute, right? So he will be eligible for parole as soon as another year. I mean, how do you feel about having to go back repeatedly to kind of go back to the scene of the accident and relive this, whether it's every year or every 3 years?
Yeah. I don't it doesn't cause me any difficulty at all reliving it. In fact, I give an officer safety lecture at the police academy where I relive it every class, and it's not something that causes me any pain or discomfort. It's something that happened to me, and I think that it's something that can be learned from. And maybe I'm not the one to teach people what they're supposed to learn from it, but I can express what happened and tell them what my feelings are. One thing I want to say, before we do get to the end and make sure that I get this in, is I really wanted to thank the District Attorney's Office, Lisa Green, and especially Greg Bianchi, who was the prosecutor who attended the hearing for Jason Samuel. The DA's office has a deputy DA assigned to the lifer hearings, and my understanding is that hasn't always been the case. And there are actually DA's offices in the state that don't send a DA to every lifer hearing, and which I think is a mistake, because I think it's important for the community to show up with their representative, in this case the DA, and make an argument for whether a person should be or shouldn't be granted parole. And I know, to me, the importance of that I saw when the commissioner made her ruling regarding whether or not Samuel was going to be paroled, and she cited all of the factors, or many of the factors, that Prosecutor Bianchi pointed out in his argument for denying parole, and said absolutely nothing about anything that I had to say. And I thought, and that's as it should be.
That's a good advocate, right?
If he would have been 18 when this happened, he would not be eligible for parole if he was tried as an adult.
Actually, I've done a little research since then, and the youth offender statutes extend, I believe, to the age 23, crimes committed up to age 23.
Did that come up during the initial trial, to try him as an adult?
Those, the Supreme Court case and some California Supreme Court cases and the statutes came up starting in 2010, I believe. So it actually happened after he was convicted.
Well, thank you for coming on the show
Yeah,
and sharing
Thomas
your story with
Morgan.
everybody. Wow.
Incredible story. And I will tell you, I stand in awe of your maturity in the way that you can move on with your life in a positive way. I'm not sure if I'm big enough to do that.
No,
I would
he
have
makes
some
all of us look
residual
bad. It makes
anger,
makes all of us look bad.
Thank you for coming, Tom Morgan, Deputy County Counsel, and good luck to you. And I tell you, I mean, this guy's a picture of fitness. Those of you who aren't watching on the video stream, and not only physically but emotionally. So, Tom Morgan, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, anytime. Richard, thank you for bringing us a tremendous, a whole raft of tremendous guests today. Nicely done. Tomorrow, still be pretty good. The owners of Pyrenees Cafe are going to come on. Police Chief Greg Williamson will be here. Maybe there'll be some overlap there. He can get here in time for breakfast, Greg, if you're listening. The rest of you have a great day. Stay tuned for the Money Wise guys. You get tired, pull over, you get hungry, eat something. Oh, and also Lois Henry tomorrow. Peace out.